Sorry, I got distracted by a cat in my yard who's very cute but might be killing something right now. I can't tell. Oh, the cat's taking a shit in my yard. That's what it was doing. Wonderful. It's Sue in the restricted section. So today I am doing a great culling of my bookshelves because recently I thought a good waste of 2 or 3 hours would be to type up all my books into an Excel file just so I could see how many I have and how many are read versus unread. And what I discovered was that I own a total of about 470 books, which is kind of a lot. It doesn't bother me. Like, I've always wanted to own a lot of books and I've always wanted to like have a library in my home or like a study, but I'm not really in a place where I can do that right now because we still rent our home. We don't have an extra room to do that with because I work from home, so I have to use the extra bedroom as my office. So it kind of doesn't make sense for me to own that many books right now. I'm not gonna, like, that being said, I'm not gonna get rid of like a hugely significant amount of books. But, you know, I am probably eventually gonna move out of this house, and moving 470 books is not gonna be fun. And also, as I was going through them, I was just kind of like, why do I even still have some of these? And I also discovered that of those 470 books that I own, 330 of them are unread. Which again doesn't really bother me, and it makes sense because usually as I read books, I get rid of them if I didn't like them or I don't think I'll ever read it again. I get rid of it, so it makes sense that I own a lot more unread books than read books. I'm just gonna go through, get rid of anything, could be read, could be unread, doesn't matter if it's just something that I'm not interested in anymore, even if I haven't read it, I'm gonna get rid of it. So that's what I'm gonna do. I do have a few that actually, I didn't even count these in my total books owned because I was already planning on getting rid of them, but I'm just gonna show you guys those books really quickly, and then I'm gonna go through each of my shelves and pull out some more books to get rid of. And so this might be a really long video because it's basically like a massive unhaul. But let's go through the books I already have out. First I have The Professor and the Madman by Simon Winchester. I just recently read this last month, I think. It was okay. So didn't love it, don't think I'll ever read it again. Gonna get rid of it. Next, another one I recently read, which is Like Water for Chocolate by Laura Esquivel. Again, I liked it. I liked this book, but I don't really think I'll ever reread it. If I do, it won't be anytime soon, so I can always, you know, get it again, buy it again later if I feel like I want to reread it, or get it from the library, so not a big deal. Along those same lines, Chocolat by Joanne Harris. I actually kind of prefer the movie to the book, so if I want to revisit the story, I'm probably just going to watch the movie. Next is a book I have not read. That is A Scandalous Secret by Jayshree Misra. And I started to read this, and I got about 14 pages in, and I DNF'd it because it was just really bad. And I hated one of the characters that I'm pretty certain I was not supposed to hate, and I just couldn't fucking stand her, so not gonna read that. Next is this book called Serial Killers by Brian Ines. And I'm pretty sure I read this a long time ago, but I don't know, it's just kind of one of those things that's like, I don't need to own this. If I want to look up information on a specific serial killer, I can just find it online. Next I have Every Hearted Doorway by Seanan McGuire. I liked this book, but I didn't love it, and I don't really think that I will continue with the series, so I'm probably going to give this to Megan because she liked it a lot more than I did. Next I have Rain Man. This is a book that I have not read, but it is by Leonore Fleischer. And I didn't realize when I got this, I got it at a library sale, and I didn't realize that it's based on, like, it's a novel based on a screenplay. And I don't know, just knowing that kind of made me not interested in it anymore. I don't know, is that weird? I just would rather, I've never seen this movie either, so I think I would just rather watch the original format of it, which would be a movie. So maybe I'll watch the movie someday. Probably not, because I never watch movies, but whatever. And then next I have Beneath the Tree of Heaven by David Wingrove, and this is another one that I have not read, but I didn't realize that it's like the 5th book in a series. It says book 5 in the Chung Kuo series, I guess. And I'm like, I'm not gonna find the other 4 books, and like that's just not gonna happen, so getting rid of it. Next is another one I haven't read. It's Running Blind by Lee Child. One of my friends gave this to me. It's a Jack Reacher novel, and I'm just not really interested in these kinds of books. It's, you know, action thriller type thing, and it's just not for me. This I have read. It is The Best American Science Writing from 2007, and this is edited by Gina Colada. And it's a collection of essays on science. And it was really interesting. I did really enjoy this. I had to read it for a class actually when I was in college, so I've had this for a very long time. But yeah, it's just one that I just don't really feel like I need to hang on to. And then last of this first little stack, I have Let's Pretend This Never Happened by Jenny Lawson. I got it at a library sale and the dust jacket was gone. Also, I spilled Chinese food on it since then. Oops, the inside's cute. But I listened to Furiously Happy by Jenny Lawson on audiobook, and I hated it. I hated it. I think I gave it a very generous rating because I felt like if I'd read it myself, I wouldn't have hated it as much, because Jenny Lawson reads it herself and it was not a good experience. Like, sorry, Jenny Lawson, but you're fucking annoying. So after reading that, I don't really have any interest in reading this one anymore. This copy actually is signed by the author, which is, you know, kind of cool. Yeah, I don't think I'll ever read it. I'm not really excited about reading it. So, now I'm going to hopefully like move the camera so you can see me going through my shelves and go through, I might just go through the first 2, take a break and show you guys the books I pull out, and then go through the last one, the last big one, which is over here. I'll be right back. From doing my first 2 small shelves behind me, I pulled oh god, my stack almost fell over. I pulled 10 books out that I'm going to get rid of, so let's go through those really quickly. First I have Back to Blood by Tom Wolfe. I bought this at the dollar store one day just because I had the hankering to buy a dollar store book. And I knew I'd heard of Tom Wolfe, so I just got it, but honestly, I don't even know what this book is about. Next I have Bitter Blood by Jerry Bledsoe. This is another one that a friend gave me, and it's a true crime novel. Not super into true crime in general. My mom loves watching like 48 Hours and stuff, and I hate that shit. I don't know why. I think, like, I love horror movies. I think because I know it's fake, but true crime is like actually terrifying. Next I have Rosemary's Baby by Ira Levin. I have read this and I didn't really like it, which was kind of surprising. I thought that I would, but didn't care for it. Next I have Slammerkin by Emma Donoghue. I have read this one as well and I did like it, but I don't think I'll reread it anytime soon, if ever. Next I have Dr. Zhivago by Boris Pasternak. I just have heard from a few people on BookTube that this is not a good translation. So as beautiful as this book is, I think I will get rid of it and then find a better translation of it. Next I have The Underground Railroad by Colson Whitehead. I have read this book and again I did really like it, but I don't think I'll reread it anytime soon. Next is Let Me In by John Ajvide Lindquist. This is another one I have read and did really like a lot, but I don't think I'll be rereading it anytime soon. And if I do you know, repurchase it sometime in the future, I think I'd rather have the actual title that it's supposed to be, which is Let the Right One In. This is like the American movie version of the cover and the title. They changed the title for some reason for the American movie. Yeah, so I'm gonna get rid of this copy. Next is Cause Celeb by Helen Fielding. I just got this because I love Bridget Jones's Diary, and Helen Fielding wrote that. But now, I don't know, it's just not anything that's on my like immediate TBR by any means. I'm not really like excited to read it, so I think I'm just gonna get rid of it. Next is The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. I have not read this yet, but I decided that I'm gonna listen to the audiobook instead because I've been meaning to read it for a long time and I just haven't had time to read the physical copy. So I think I'm just gonna listen to it and get rid of the physical one that I have. I'll probably keep it while I'm listening to it just in case there's like illustrations and stuff I want to look at, but then I'm gonna get rid of it. And lastly, this one hurts a little bit because this was a true cover buy and I fucking love the cover of this book. I think it's beautiful, but I really have absolutely no interest in actually reading the book at all. And that is The Possibilities by Callie Hart Hemmings. Like that cover, it's just, there's something about it I just love. But like the book, absolutely no interest in the content whatsoever. So I'm gonna part with it. I'll just take a picture of it, hang it on my wall. So that's my first little group of books. Now I'm gonna go over to my big beast of a shelf over here, which is like double stacked. It's just a fucking mess. And I'm gonna pull some shit out of there. Back. I think I counted like 29 books that I pulled off of my big shelf. First I have Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. I actually really enjoyed this book. I read it in college for my women's lit class, but like this copy is just really ugly for one thing. It's just a shitty mass market paperback. And again, I don't see myself rereading it anytime in the near future, so I'm just gonna get rid of it for now, and maybe sometime later I'll acquire a more aesthetically pleasing copy of it. Not that I'm all that concerned about my books being pretty, but it's nice. Next I have Herzog by Saul Bellow. I got this at a library sale, and I think I just got it because I was like, Saul Bellow, I've heard of him, like, I'll get this book. But I'm not really even sure what it's about. I think it's just about a man doing something. I don't know. Next I have The French Atlantic Connection by Ernest Lehman. And this is another like action suspense type novel. Not super into that, so I'm gonna get rid of it. And on that same note, I have Pandora's Clock by John J. Nance. It says a combination of the hot zone and speed, says USA Today. Yeah, not super interested. Next I have The Key to Midnight by Dean Koontz. I haven't read a Dean Koontz book in a hot minute. I used to read the shit out of some Dean Koontz when I was a teenager, but I don't know, I'm just not super interested in reading his books anymore. I kept a couple because I had a few Dean Koontz books, and I kept like 2 of them that I will probably still at least try to read sometime in the future, but this one, the premise just didn't sound that great to me, so getting rid of that. Next I have Monsoon by Wilbur Smith. This is another like action adventure, I think. Not my jam. Next is one that I have read, and that's Seabiscuit by Laura Hillenbrand. I actually really liked this a lot more than I expected to, but you know, again, I just don't think I'll reread it anytime soon, if ever. Next is a Dean Koontz book that I have read way back when I was in like middle school. I read Soul Survivor and loved it. That's why I read so much Dean Koontz, was because I read this one and loved it so much that I kept reading all of his books that I could. I don't know, I just don't feel like I'm gonna reread it anytime soon, and like, I feel like it's maybe one of those that if I reread it, it would probably disappoint me. Maybe, I don't know. Next I have Adventures of Amelia Bedelia by Peggy Parrish. And I loved Amelia Bedelia when I was a kid. I actually bought this book because I dressed up as Amelia Bedelia for Halloween. And so I got the book to like carry with me. But my neighbors just got home and probably see me sitting here filming myself looking like a weirdo. But I think I'm gonna get rid of it and give it to one of my nieces and nephews, or all of my nieces and nephews. Next I have Space by James A. Michener. I got this at a library sale as well, and I've had it so long, and just, again, it's like not one that I feel excited to read or that is really like high up on my TBR. So I think I'll get rid of it, and I think like every time I go to a library sale, I swear I see copies of this book, so I don't think it will be difficult for me to acquire it again in the future if I want to. Next, I have Memoirs of a Geisha by Arthur Golden. I have read this novel, but it's another one that I kind of feel like I like the movie better, so if I want to revisit the story, I will just watch the movie. Next, it kind of pains me to get rid of this because it's so pretty, but I've only heard bad things about it, so I don't think I'm going to enjoy it, so I might as well just get rid of it. And that's After Alice by Gregory Maguire, but this copy is so pretty. This is what the cover is like, transparent. But it's some sort of Alice in Wonderland retelling, and I do love me some Alice in Wonderland, but I just don't think I'm going to dig this one. My boyfriend's home. You can't see out the window. Never mind. Next I have Tank Girl, Armadillo, and a Bushel of Other Stories. I don't know why I got this. It was another one that I got at the dollar store just because I had the hankering to get a book. I don't know anything about Tank Girl, so...
Hey, buddy.
Hi, I'm filming a video. I'm almost done. So the next one I have is Heart-Shaped Box by Joe Hill. I think this is technically my boyfriend's book, so maybe I should ask him before I get rid of it, but I don't think he will care. But I tried to read this a long time ago and thought it was really boring and never finished it. And I was gonna give it another chance, but just if I really think about it, I don't really care to read it, so. Next is The Strange Case of Rachel K by Rachel Kushner. I got this at a library sale. It was another one that I don't know why I got it. I don't know who Rachel Kushner is. Probably not gonna read it. Next I have The Tent by Margaret Atwood. I read this and thought it was kind of meh. I'm probably gonna give it to Megan because she really loves Margaret Atwood, so I think she would like to own this more than me. Next is See Now Then by Jamaica Kincaid. This is another one I got at the dollar store, not knowing anything about it, and then when I looked it up, it had really terrible reviews, so probably not gonna read that one. Next is Exit West by Mohsin Hamid. I have read this and I liked it. I thought it was pretty good, but I didn't really like it that much. I don't think I'll ever reread it. Next is a controversial one, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. I just thought this was okay. I didn't hate it like a lot of people did. I didn't love it. I thought it was okay. Probably won't ever reread it. Next is In the Shadow of the Banyan by Vadi Ratner. I have read this and I actually thought it was really fantastic, but I don't think I'll reread it anytime soon, so I'm gonna get rid of it for now. Next is Robinson Crusoe by Daniel Defoe. I've pretty much only ever heard people say they don't like this book. I don't really think I need to read it. I don't know what I'm gonna do with this copy because it's literally duct taped together, so I don't think any bookstore will want it or anyone will want it, so I might put it in my craft drawer and do something with it. I don't know. Next is B is for Beer by Tom Robbins. I thought about keeping this just for the cover because I think it's really cool, but the book itself is not very good, so I am just gonna get rid of it. Next is The Shepherd of the Hills by Harold Bell Wright. I read this last year and I actually liked it a lot more than I thought I was going to. But again, I don't think I will reread it anytime soon. And anytime I go to a library sale, because I mean this is a classic of the Ozarks, which is where I live. Anytime I go to a library sale here there's like 40 copies of this book there. So I'm pretty sure I could get my hands on it again pretty easily if I wanted to. Next is Journals by Kurt Cobain. This is a bunch of stuff from his journals. And I have already read it a very long time ago. The inside cover actually looks pretty cool. It's like a notebook. But yeah, I used to be really obsessed with Kurt Cobain when I was in high school. I thought it was like 1994, I guess. Yeah, not really like that into Nirvana or anything these days. So I don't feel like I need to own this anymore. And on that same vein, I have Heavier Than Heaven, which is a biography of Kurt Cobain by Charles R. Cross. I also read this in high school and I thought it was good. I don't really remember that much about it, but I remember enjoying it. But I don't think I need to own it anymore. Next is The Atlas of Us by Tracy Buchanan. I have not read this one. I got it in a Bookly box a long time ago and it's just not something that I'm interested in reading. Also got this in a Bookly box. It is All That's Left to Tell by Daniel Lowe. This one I thought about keeping. It sounds like it could be interesting, but not at the top of my TBR list. And then another Bookly box one is Free Bird by John Raymond. This one, again, could be good, but it just doesn't sound like something I'm super interested in. And the last one I have is one that I have read, like when I was in middle school or something. And it's another Dean Koontz, and it is False Memory. And I loved this book back when I read it, but kind of like the Soul Survivor, I just don't know if I would really enjoy it now, so I probably won't be rereading it anytime soon, if ever. So that's it. Yeah, I think I have like 50 books here that I'm gonna get rid of. Didn't make a huge dent in my shelves, but it's something. If you guys think I should keep any of these books that I haven't read yet, then let me know. Maybe I'll consider it, but yeah, I'm just gonna probably give these away to some of my friends and then just donate the rest, because if I go try to trade them in, used bookstores always want to give you credit, and I'm weak and would probably just take the credit and then buy more books, and that would be pointless. So that's gonna be it for me today. There'll be links below where you can find myself and Megan other places on the internet. If you have not subscribed yet, please do, and I'll see you next time. Bye!